begin. Let's see what we're gonna need. 1 coconut water, that is this, and the tender cream which is inside the coconut, and tad bit of sugar. So let's begin with the process of making tender coconut juice. So you just take the water, add it in a mixer grinder, add the cream, and then add a tad bit of sugar, and then we are just going to blend this. And we are done. Are you guys ready to see the magic? Voila! So now just pour, pour, pour. And drink, drink, drink. Now guys, do not underestimate this recipe just because it is under 1 minute. It just tastes absolutely amazing. So let me just go ahead and take a sip. Absolutely refreshing. 3 times more refreshing than coconut water. Those 2 ingredients: pineapple slices or cubed pineapple, but this, make sure this is tinned, and cheese pieces. I'm using cheese cubes which I'm going to cut and show you how to do that. I'm using Amul cheese over here. So let's see what else you're going to need. You're going to need toothpicks. That's right. Now let's get busy. What we need to do is cut this equally and then cut this like this. Got that? So now that our cheese cubes are nicely diced up, let's turn our focus to the pineapple slice. We are just going to take 1 slice at a time and cut it in between so that it's manageable. Then what we're going to do is we're going to cut it like this. You see? Like that. So each slice you should get like about 6 pieces like this. Once you get this, what you need to do is you need to press it like this over here. Then you press it with the cheese, take another piece of pineapple and press it over here. Look at that. And when you put it down, just press it like this. So it has a support system and it can stay on a board. So you can just serve it like this. No dish could be easier than this dish to make. I can't wait to have a bite of it. Cheese and pineapple. What a combination. Let's get started. Let's look at the ingredients. So we're gonna need some boiled potatoes, capsicum, onions, green beans, peas, some cilantro, which is dhania, carrots, cabbage, cauliflower, tomatoes, and we're also gonna need garlic paste, some ginger chili paste, salt of course, some pav bhaji masala, red chili powder, and this is goda masala. And that is what you're going to need. Along with this, we are also going to need some butter and a little bit of oil. So let's get started with making pav bhaji. So step 1, let's boil the vegetables. First goes in the carrots, then the cauliflower, then the cabbage and the green beans. To this I'm going to add some water. Yeah, that's perfect. And for the peas, I've taken the peas out of the bowl, kept it in a steel bowl, added a little bit water, and now I'm going to take this bowl and keep it in along with the rest of the vegetables to boil. The reason I'm doing this separately is because we are going to mash the rest of the vegetables, but I like the peas to remain whole, and that is the why I want to keep them separate. So let's start with the boiling of the vegetables. Meanwhile, I'm also going to mash the potatoes, and I will see you when both of them are ready. So our potatoes are nicely mashed in. I made sure that there are no big chunks remaining in here. We are just going to keep this aside for now. Meanwhile, our veggies are boiled and I let it cool down a bit. We are now just going to remove the peas and keep it aside. We are not going to do anything with it as of now, and we are just going to quickly run this hand mixer in here. We have to make sure that it doesn't become like a puree. We still want those small chunks, but we're just slightly going to mash it. So let me get to that and I'll show you once it's ready. Okay, so we are ready. See how it is? It's, you know, there are some chunks still remaining. That is how you want it. You don't want a very fine paste or a puree. Okay, so now we are going to keep this also aside, and we are going to start working on our tomato and onion paste. Okay, so in a pan I've added some oil, and looks like the oil is heated, and let's add the onions. Okay, so the onions are somewhat cooked. I'm going to add the garlic paste to it. Now this looks like a lot of garlic, but trust me, this is required. So our onions and garlic are nicely cooked in. I cooked it for around 4 to 5 minutes. Now it's time for us to add the tomatoes, and we'll cook this till the time the tomatoes are nicely cooked in. The tomatoes are nicely cooked. Look at that. You know, while I was cooking this, I was constantly stirring, and then I was like lightly pressing the tomatoes, you know. It becomes easier for it to cook. Now it's time for us to add the capsicum, which is a bell pepper. We're going to let this cook as well. But meanwhile, I'm going to add a little bit of salt. Actually, I'm going to add the whole of salt for the entire dish. This will help it cook a little faster. And we are going to cook the capsicum at least 80 to 90%. So I cooked the capsicum for about 2 minutes. They are halfway cooked. Now it's time for us to add the ginger chili paste, the Kashmiri lal mirch, the pav bhaji masala, and the goda masala. And now let's mix this all in together, and we are going to cook this again for a minute or two. Masalas are nicely incorporated with the onions, tomatoes, and the capsicum. Time for us to add the potatoes. Now let's just mix this properly. And we're gonna just keep smashing it like this. Now let's just add our boiled vegetables. Now it's going to be easier to mix everything in. Now that you have mixed everything in well together, we are going to cook this for about 15 to 20 minutes on low flame. But before you do that, we're going to do two things. One is we're going to add the peas, and we are going to add some hot water depending on what kind of consistency you want in your pav bhaji. So I'm just going to add a little as we go. And also guys, as I said, make sure that you add hot water, never cold water, and mix it. Okay guys, it's been 15 minutes and it is smelling absolutely amazing, and it's time for us to add the butter. Now, don't be stingy with the butter, otherwise you won't get that Mumbai taste of pav bhaji. Now, nobody said this is going to be healthy, so don't be in a shock when you see the amount of butter, but it is what is going to make this pav bhaji taste amazing. So we just let this get mixed in, and we're going to cook this for another 5 minutes, and then we are going to come back for a taste test. I'm going to show you once it's ready and the cooked version. It's been 5 more minutes since we added the butter and it's ready. Now it's time for a taste test, and let's just add it to a bowl and garnish it with some onions, some cilantro, and of course a bit of butter. Usually pav bhaji is served with a bread which looks like this. It's called pav, and it's slit in middle, applied butter, and then just lightly roasted on a griddle. So I am going to take a bite of the pav along with the bhaji. As you can see, it's pretty hot. Can you see? Let's close the shoot. Let's enjoy this pav bhaji. It has turned out amazing. And today we are going to make Matar pulao. Let's look at the ingredients that you're going to need for this. Of course, we're going to need some rice for the pulao, potatoes, onions, tomato, green chili. I've taken some water to boil the rice in. Asafoetida, that's hing, cumin seeds, that's jeera, garam masala. This is my homemade garam masala. You will be able to find a link in the description. And bay leaf, that is tej patta, cinnamon stick, that's dalchini, black pepper, that's kali mirch, and cloves, that's long. And of course, you cannot make Matar pulao without some matar. So let's get started with the process. It's pretty simple to make. I've already put a little bit of oil and it is already heated up. To this I'm going to add all of my whole garam masalas. The whole spices are sizzling a bit. I'm going to add the cumin seeds and they already started popping. So I'm going to add some asafoetida, sorry, that is hing, and some onions now. Okay, so now we're just going to quickly stir this, and we're going to cook this till the time the onions are halfway cooked. While I'm stirring this, and while this is getting cooked, I want to make sure that I chop up the green chilies. The way I want to chop up these green chilies is basically just take one, cut it into half, then split it like this. And then just throw them in along with the onions. So we're going to do the rest of the green chilies the same way. So all our green chilies are inside the cooker along with the onions. Time for us to now add the potatoes. Now these are raw potatoes, guys. I have not boiled them, so this might take a tad bit longer to cook. So I'm gonna wait till the time the potatoes are a little bit cooked, okay? Not all the way, because we're gonna pressure cook it any which ways. Meanwhile, while that is happening, what I want to do is take the tomato and make a paste out of it. So the potatoes are somewhat, I would say, halfway cooked, and our tomato gravy is also ready. So first, now we'll put the peas. These are already kind of blanched in. Just give it a quick stir, and then now we're going to add our tomato puree. Now we're going to mix this. Add a little bit of salt. I'm going to add enough for the veggies as well as the rice, and I'm just going to lightly cover this up. I'm just going to cover it up like this, and we'll get back to it once the tomato puree is nicely cooked. So it's been about 3 to 4 minutes, and it should be sufficient time for the tomato puree to be fully cooked. Looks like everything is nicely cooked in. Now it's time for us to add the Punjabi homemade garam masala and the rice. Well, I had washed the rice and drained the water and kept it aside for about half an hour. Okay, so now let's just mix everything together. Now we are just going to add some water. Now make sure that you always add a little bit of warm or hot water. I always tell you guys never to add cold water to any of your half-cooked dishes. It kind of takes away the taste from that dish. So I'm just going to give a thorough mix, and then we are just going to lightly cover this up like this. We are not going to close it, we're just lightly going to cover it up. And I keep laughing in the middle of my videos is because today, out of all days, when I'm using this cooker to, to make a video, this ring keeps coming off. Every 2 minutes, this ring keeps coming off. I don't know what to do. Okay, but anyways, we are still going in the right direction with or without the ring. We just need to keep it like this, keep an eye on it, and I will tell you what next step we have to go for. It's been 3 to 4 minutes on medium-high flame, and this is where it is at. It's the perfect time to basically now keep this thing, lock it. Now we're gonna just wait for 1 whistle, and then we are almost 95% ready, because I still have to plate it and there's a taste test. So see you back after 1 whistle. So after 1 whistle, I let the pressure cooker cool down a bit so that we can open the lid, and abracadabra. Look at that. Isn't that just so inviting? Now just, guys, what we need to do now is just add a little bit of the purified butter, which is ghee. Very little, not much, And then just cover it up for just 10 seconds. Just 10 seconds till the time the ghee is melted and it goes inside all of the rice. So the ghee must have nicely melted in, and it is smelling amazing over here. And now it's time for us to plate it. Look at that. Every stand of rice is separate. This is a perfect pulao. If it gets all clumpy, then it's a no-show. But when the rice is nice and separate from each other, and when you can tell that there are different, pieces of rice, that is when you know you have made a good pulao. I love to eat this with some instant chatpat chutney. This chutney is actually one of my favorite chutneys. It is really simple to make and it is very different from other chutneys. Other chutneys are like a paste, but this has some chunks of tomato and garlic and whatever is in here. I'm gonna put up a recipe for this. I hope you get to see this so you can try it along with the pulao. And now I'm just gonna take a little bit of this, just a little, and try it with my pulao. This is really hot. That is really hot. And you know what, guys, if you're anything like me, you like spicy food, this is the chutney that you should make it along with this pulao. If you want to go for a little bit of soother palate, then go for curd. You can have curd with this pulao. This is actually very, very delicious. So for this, what we're gonna need is 3/4 cup of frozen strawberries. Now, how do you get frozen strawberries? Very easy. Just rinse the fresh strawberries, slice them up, and put them in the freezer overnight. Then I've taken 1/2 cup of granola. Now if you don't have granola, just use any of your favorite cereal, and plain yogurt, that's dahi, 1 cup of that, and 1 sachet of sugar, that's 1 teaspoon, and Nutella, 1 tablespoon of Nutella. Now let's take the yogurt and add some sugar to it. Now we're just gonna mix everything together, everything in the sense the yogurt and the sugar together, so we kind of get a little sugared yogurt taste, sweet yogurt basically. And then in a small serving glass, whichever glass that you want to serve this dessert, take that sweet yogurt and put it at the base of it. Now we're gonna add the granola to it. Now I'm using granola which has a little bit of cinnamon flavor, but even if you don't have plain granola, that's fine as well. And now, of course, the frozen strawberries. Now, this is a very good way to preserve the strawberries. I love strawberries, and just you get them only during the winter. So if you are a strawberry freak like I am and want to have strawberries for longer durations, then you can just do what I just did, freeze them in the freezer. And then we're gonna add a little bit of Nutella. We're gonna try to put them in the places where there's a little space, there's a little vacuum. So I'm just putting Nutella at the sides, and then we are going to again put a little bit of the sweet yogurt to it. Now press it a little so that whatever space is there, it gets filled with the yogurt. And then one more time, granola. And very little bit of Nutella. I should have done this even in the first process, right? Using the end of the spoon. And top it up with some more frozen strawberry, and we are ready to have a nice taste. Look at that. I want everything. I want the granola, I want the yogurt, I want the strawberries, and of course a little bit of nut. Oops, that just fell out. I am so clumsy, but I'm gonna have that anyways.